Hey everybody, and welcome back for another knife review. After spending a couple of weeks with the Ranger 112 Sport by Buck Knives, I'd like to share a list of pros and cons of this lockback knife with you. I kept it on me nearly all day, every day for the last couple of weeks, and it revealed a lot of good and honestly not that much bad about this Ranger 112 Sport, which I think is going to be a favorite lockback in my collection for years to come, and it just so happens to be the first Buck knife in my collection. So let's talk about highs. I want to start with design. The Ranger 112 Sport is absolutely packed with features that you're not going to find on the traditional Ranger 112. It might as well be a whole nother knife, in my opinion. Aesthetically, I believe that this is a thoughtfully designed knife that pays homage to the original Ranger 112 that many knife enthusiasts will enjoy. You've got the green micarta scales, for instance, or green micarta inlays. You'll see those are starting to get a nice patina on them after seeing some use. You've also got the deep carry pocket clip, which functions very, very well. You've also got the black anodized aluminum frame and ambidextrous black nitride thumb studs, which makes the knife very easy to open whether you're left or right-handed. Buck really seems to have thought this more modern design through with the addition of torque screws as well. You've got them at the pivot point, you've got them on the inlays, you've got them on the removable deep carry pocket clip, and you also have them on the aluminum frame. So as far as I know, I haven't tried it, but as far as I know, you can take this knife, you can fully disassemble this knife and put it back together again. The one-handed opening is easy thanks to the large ambidextrous thumb studs. And while the deep carry pocket clip is not reversible, unfortunately, but not a deal breaker, it does a great job of keeping this knife secure in your pocket. I've carried it with me in jeans, dress slacks, gym shorts, and sweatpants, and I haven't had a single instance of this knife snagging on anything, falling out of my pocket. It's always stayed right where I put it. Over the course of the few weeks that I carried this Ranger 112 Sport in my pocket, I honestly didn't come across a task that I didn't think that it could handle. That Boss heat-treated S30V blade arrived sharp right out of the box, and since then I've used it to cut through paracord, tape, some pretty thick cardboard, and multiple types of plastic with ease. The blade has a cutting edge of about 3 inches, so it's not a massive blade, but it feels a lot more substantial than that. The frame allows for a nice 4-finger grip with my medium-sized hands, and those micarta inlays provide plenty of grip. Lockup is snappy and solid on this Ranger 112 Sport, and there's very little play in the knife itself. Just a little bit of play, and I could probably adjust that at the pivot point. And the blade is also centered fairly well too, maybe just a bit off center, but not too shabby. Starting with the lows, my biggest problem with this Ranger 112 Sport is the pocket clip. I'm in a kind of a love-hate relationship with it. One of my bigger complaints about the pocket clip is that if you do remove it, the torque screws that hold it in place will not fit flush with the rest of the frame. So, they may snag on your clothing. It may give an uncomfortable grip or feel in your hand. And what's the alternative? I suppose maybe you could get different types of torque screws, or you could leave them out altogether, but then the empty holes may collect, all kinds of debris, which is going to result in a whole nother problem. So, that's something to consider there. you know, you've already got a fairly bulky knife. I think this knife is over 1/4 of an inch thick, the frame is. And when you tack on that deep carry pocket clip, you're making the knife, you know, even thicker in the pocket. I have issues with the pocket clip. I would have liked to see something like the Honey Badger, where it's integrated into the frame itself rather than just bolted on. You've got a lot of real estate there to work with, and I don't see how that would interfere with the opening and closing of the knife itself. You've also got the weight. It's nearly 4 ounces, and the frame is nearly 1/2 inch wide without factoring in the deep carry pocket clip. So it's a pretty substantial knife. It does carry well in heavier clothing like your jeans, but you know, honestly, not so much in lighter clothing like some gym shorts. Does that mean that it's not fit for EDC? Absolutely not. Are you going to feel that extra weight? I would say you probably will. Last but not least, fidget factor. I imagine it would be difficult to make a lockback a fidgety knife. It's just not going to be by nature, but it's something to consider if you're into fidgety knives like I am. That may be a bit of a turnoff for you. Not so much for me, because I really enjoy this knife, and I honestly didn't really have a quality lockback in my collection at the time of purchasing this. But if you do find yourself fidgeting with your pocket knife regularly, definitely something to consider. It is not a fidgety knife. But in summary, the Buck Ranger 112 Sport is a great EDC option with modern upgrades to the classic Ranger 112. Not only are these modern upgrades like the pocket clip and the micarta inlays functional, but they're built well and encourage EDC users to use this knife in plenty of different circumstances, rain or shine. Though I can't confirm it, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a more customizable Ranger 112 Sport in the future, possibly with customizable thumb studs, pocket clips, inlays, and backspacers. Who knows? I mean, the hardware to give you that option is there, so maybe there's a chance we'll see that stuff. That would make for some pretty cool options to customize your Ranger 112 even further and really make it your own. But for the time being, the Ranger 112 Sport is a fantastic modern lockback with a rugged look, and it's up to your EDC tasks. I really like this knife. I'm glad I got it, and I'm going to continue to EDC it on a pretty regular basis. Well, thanks again, guys, for sticking around with me for this review. I'd appreciate you leaving a like or a comment below so I know how I'm doing with these videos. If any of you guys out there own a Buck Ranger 112 Sport or another model by Buck that you would recommend, I'd love to hear about it and get your thoughts. Thanks once again for sticking around to watch the video, and have a fantastic week. Take care.